Hey guys, Jamie here at Laurel Ranch. I thought I would take a minute to just share some reality with you guys. One of the things that we definitely don't want to do is ever give you the impression that homesteading or anything close to it is easy, especially not starting completely from scratch. We don't want to make you think that we have it all together, which I'm pretty sure we've managed to get that message across. But, I don't even want it to appear like that every day is fun and games and that, just not share the struggles with you guys, I think. And so I just wanted to come on here today because I'm tired. Today has been exhausting. It's been frustrating. If I'm being real, I yelled at my girls more than I should have. Not that I should ever yell at them, but let's be honest, I don't know a parent yet who doesn't raise their voice at their kids sometime or another. So, just being completely real, I did today, and it wasn't my best. It wasn't my best day. So, I just finally managed to get out of the shower, so hair is still wet. But I'm sitting out here on the back porch before I go run my next errand and get my daughter to youth group. So I thought I'd take a minute and just share some of the reality with you guys so that you're not misled, but also on those days that you feel discouraged or you feel behind or anything like that, that maybe this can encourage you, I guess. So, a couple of pointers, I would say, we started this homestead from scratch. And I say homestead, but I use that term loosely because that is the goal. But we're not 100% there yet. We do a little bit of everything to some degree. I think we've gotten down, being able to grow and raise and process our own meat. So that I would say we have a system and it works. I don't know if I doubt it's the best system out there, but we have one that works for us. So, I will say we feel pretty confident, fairly accomplished in that aspect. So, and we've managed to sell some of that meat. So we figured out all the legalities, all the proper things you have to do to properly care for your meat and process it to be up to code. So we've pretty much figured that out. I'm still trying to figure out a garden. So there's some things that I can raise for the most part pretty well. But depending on the weather or depending on the pests at the time, I haven't yet figured out how to manage those. I'm actually going to turn a little bit because the sun's coming in my eyes. So sorry if I make you sick. I'm sitting in my hammock swing, which I absolutely love. But I don't love the sun in my eyes. So, but yeah, we still have a lot to learn as far as the garden goes. That's why we want to make sure and we start the smaller garden by the house because, God willing, if we are able to ever build the final home that we plan to build further back on our property, we plan to have a row garden up there. I still will have my potager garden, which is a kitchen garden, up by the house for smaller things, herbs and, just a few plants where I can just run out and grab something fresh for dinner. But then the larger amounts of stuff that we want to grow where we'll preserve it in some form or fashion, you have to grow that in bigger amounts. And so to do that, we will be having a row garden for that purpose. Um, and we haven't even figured out how to do the kitchen garden really yet. Um, Between the pests and the weather, and I mean, I know how to put a plant in the ground. Don't get me wrong. I know how to water it and take care of it and prune it. Um, but the rest of it, we're still trying to figure out. So, um, and I mean, I think we're getting ready to head into that milking phase when it comes to our cow. She's getting ready to calf here in the beginning of December. And, so I milked her early on when she came to us in milk, just briefly to get a feel for it. I have already milked goats, not ours, because ours are not in milk yet, but I am familiar at least enough to know what I'm doing when that comes time. That, thanks to our boy goat, will be in the spring. So there's still some things that we have yet to figure out that we haven't even yet tried, right? But I guess my whole point of this is just to say, I don't know anybody who has it all together as far as homesteading goes. Well, in life in general, but especially in homesteading, like every single person that I watch on YouTube and follow their journey, they have camera crews. Like, I'm sitting here in my swing holding my own tripod. So, and I edit my own videos, which is pretty obvious. But, they have camera crews. They have paid help. We had, when the boys were at home, we agreed, hey, don't go out and get a job, work for us, help us build, the house, help us build the coops, help us build the barn, that sort of stuff. We'll pay you. You don't have to get a job. We get the benefit of your labor. It was kind of a win-win. So that was a huge help. But still, we only had so much money to pay them, and they only had so many hours that they could give us. So it wasn't like a full-time work crew. And, my husband has a full-time job. So Monday through Friday, he works 8 to 5. And then homestead stuff that he does comes in the evenings or on weekends. So it's not like he does this full time. And during the day, at least during the school year, I'm homeschooling the girls. So even I only have so much time in a day outside of schoolwork, and then they each have activities and stuff that they're in. So we're definitely not those YouTubers that have a crew that can, do all the work and build all the things and, help plant the plants and milk the cows and, all that stuff, or even just film. So when you see what we're doing, it's literally just us doing it. But even with that being said, I don't want it to ever appear that things don't get frustrating, that we don't get behind. Today, I think a mistake that I made in our apiary for our bees probably cost us $500 in equipment. And it was just, it was oversight on my part. I just didn't go out and keep track of how things were going in the hives as often as I should. And so 2 of them got taken over by a waxy moth, which is not uncommon, but I could have caught it sooner and not lost all that equipment. So, those are just those types of things that day in and day out, there are frustrations and there are things that can be overwhelming. So if I were to give you any advice, I would say start small. We started this from scratch, not really with a big, huge idea of what we wanted this place to look like. We wanted to get out of the rat race in town. We wanted to have more land and less house. That was about the extent of what we knew we wanted to do. And in doing that, we decided, let's add a garden, let's add some animals, let's decide to homestead, which is fine, except that the way things fell into place, especially with the animals, we ended up jumping in feet first to a whole lot of things. The one benefit of the animals that we have is that, at least the livestock animals, they're all ruminants. So all of their systems basically work the same. They all need basically the same minerals and the same types of feed. A few minor differences here and there, but for the most part, the illnesses and stuff that they struggle with, they're going to be very similar from animal to animal. Now, when we go to add other animals, that will be a different story. But so it was okay to add the few that we have right now, just because they are so similar. And same thing with the poultry. Like we have, chickens, ducks, turkeys, they're all very similar. So at least we had that going for us. But I would encourage you to start one thing at a time. So, maybe you don't have land and you're frustrated because you want to get out of the city or you want to get out of the suburbs and you want property and you want to be able to do all these things homesteading. And that's a great plan and you should start taking steps towards that. But baby steps are fine. And don't be discouraged by the fact that you don't have all the things in place right now. So maybe you just start with gardening in pots, right? Container gardening. And you master that first. Or maybe you're in town and you can do chickens. You can't do roosters most places, but you're not going to miss anything there. But start with chickens, or start with rabbits. Meat rabbits are a great way to add to your freezer a lot of meat in a given year. Little by little, you can do these things without getting overwhelmed. And just start learning one thing at a time. And maybe right now you can't do any of those things. Maybe you don't have the time to garden. Maybe you don't have the time to have chickens or the ability to have rabbits or anything else, because maybe your plate is so full that you barely have time to sleep. And that's fine. So maybe you carve out 30 minutes a week to start learning. That's huge because that's still steps towards your goal without it being overwhelming. And I think that's the most important thing, is just start wherever you are with what you have and move forward little by little. So anyway, I think that's basically all I had to say. I just didn't want you guys to think that, we're even close to having it all together or even close to knowing what on earth we're doing. For real, when we chose our tagline to be learning as we grow, that was the most real we could be, because that is exactly what we are doing. I cannot tell you the number of times that I figure out, oh no, this is what I have to do next. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to start doing that tomorrow, or I got to start doing that this week. So I better figure out what that looks like. And I literally go to the internet or to the books that I have and I start figuring out how to do it. So, it's very last minute in some cases. So, and then we just see how it goes. We just see how it turns out. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a blessed day. I hope that you're finding ways, be it little ways or big ways, to make it towards your goals, to get closer and closer. And I hope that in some way that this encourages you, that in some way you learn something from watching our videos, that you laugh with us. If nothing else, if you don't learn anything, if you're not at all encouraged, I hope that it brings you some laughter. That's more than enough some days. So anyway, have a blessed day.